Hello, 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 Wings of Wisdom listening audience and Virginia's virtual viewers. I am so excited to have my very first family member to come on Wings of Wisdom. She is my first cousin. Her mother and my father are sisters and brothers, and I am so grateful to be spotlighting and featuring this expert on her pathway to her purpose. She's known since she was 5 years old that she wanted to embrace the medical field. So we are going to dive deep on the Carla Epperson experience and how she is so passionate about bedside care. So Carla, give Virginia's virtual viewers a little backdrop of your bio, and also I want to emphasize first on who or what inspired you to embrace the medical field, and after 35 years, you are still passionate and compassionate about bedside care.
Well, first of all, Virginia, I want to thank you. I want to thank God for this opportunity, you and the Lord for this opportunity. I know when we first spoke, it was not the right time, but like as I shared with you what's been going on from the first time you reached out to me till today, that God's timing is the right timing. A little bit of background on me. I am a registered nurse for 36 years. I started out as a diploma nurse. So those individuals that are transitioning into being an RN or financially may not can afford college or associate degrees or baccalaureate degrees, it's okay to do a diploma nursing. Shadyside Hospital School of Nursing was good to me. That's where I got my first diploma in nursing. I started out first of all as a tray girl. I started out as a tray girl at Allegheny General Hospital, knowing that I wanted to be a nurse because, like you said, at the age of 5, I was sickly. I had gotten burnt on my arm with hot grease on my leg. I remember being in the hospital. I remember my cousin Edwina being there. And it was a long journey. I remember my parents taking me to the hospital together. Both my father and my mother had taken me to the hospital. But that care, when I reflect and talk to family members, my one aunt Dawn told me that she remembers me as a child always being the one that's caring for other people, always caring, taking on other people's burdens. I didn't even realize that. But my aunt Dawn had shared that with me about 2 or 3 years ago. But through that process, at the age of 5, in high school, in my high school yearbook, it's noted that I wanted to go to the University of Pittsburgh to become a registered nurse. Ultimately, I did accomplish that goal. However, it was not straightforward. Like I said, when I graduated from high school, I went to Carlo College, thought I was making a lot of money as a nursing assistant. I thought I was making a lot of money as a nursing assistant. And as I was sitting here seeing the nurses, work as nurses, take care of the patients, I was like, I got to do this. So that inspired me to go back and get my RN diploma. And I got my RN diploma. Then I went on to work at Allegheny General Hospital as a nurse. And Betty, I can't remember Betty's name, but she was an RN, and she was a home care nurse, home care case manager, home care nurse. And she told me, I told her what my aspirations were. I told her that I wanted to get into I wanted to get into leadership. She said, go back and get your BSN. And those words from Miss Betty encouraged me to do that. I went on and got my BSc. And along the way, I can tell you, when you are pursuing God's purpose, He's going to put people in your path. Prior to even going to Shadyside Hospital School of Nursing, I was sitting at the desk working, and I was on the phone with the financial aid officer at Shadyside Hospital School of Nursing, and she said, if you don't have 1,000, and not many people know this, I can tell you about 3 people know this, and you're one of them. I shared it with you the other day. I was sitting at the desk and I was on the phone with the financial aid officer at Shadyside Hospital School of Nursing. And she said, if you don't have $1,000, you can't start in August. And I asked her, can I pay in installments? And she said, no, you need to have the whole $1,000 up. So I hung up. I was sitting at the nurse's station crying, and I started to cry. And Miss Rita Brink, she was a wife of a psychiatrist. She was a part-time nurse, an older nurse who had been a nurse for over 30 years as well at that time. And I think about her all the time because she helped me. She took me in the back room. She took me in the locker room and she said, Carla, what's wrong? And I told her, I said, I want to go to nursing school, but they told me I needed $1,000. And if I didn't have $1,000 in August, then I wouldn't be able to start. And she said, well, you know what, Carla, you're a good young lady. And you remind me of my 2 daughters, and my daughters live in New York. And you remind me of my 2 daughters. I tell you what, if you come up with 500, I'll give you 500. And here I am now, went from a BSN to an MSN. I went in 2004, me and my children relocated to North Carolina because I couldn't get a management job in an acute care facility with a BSN. So I went online and I applied to this job. I met the minimum requirements. BSN is a level 1. There's various levels of acute care facilities, and the level 1 trauma hospital is the top acute care facility. Any level 1, like your UPMC, your Allegheny Generals. So I applied to a level 1 trauma hospital in North Carolina. I met the minimum requirements, BSN, a year of management experience. And what I had did was although I was still working at Allegheny General, I decreased my hours to per diem as needed. And I took a management job in a long-term care facility in Shadyside. And so once I had got that year experience, and the minimum requirements that I needed to apply for that job was 1 year of management experience, a BSN, as well as geriatric experience. And so I applied. Not only did I apply online, this was before we left for North Carolina. I had applied online, plus I printed off my application, my resume, and I FedExed it overnight. And so about 2 weeks went by, and because I didn't hear anything, so my brother-in-law, Dale Shaw, is in he's business acumen, and so I called him and I said, Dale, do you think I should follow up on this application? He said, oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So I followed up on the application. And I'm going to tell you, when you're in God's purpose, it all works out. I start getting things in order, putting my house on the market. Now, grant you, I didn't share this information with you, Virginia, but I didn't have, I was still in the interview process. I put my house on the market. I gave everything away in my house, and everything. I had just bought like $6,000 worth of new furniture. kids' bedroom set, my bedroom set, dinette set. The Lord said, showed me individuals who needed those items. I would have just gave them to the Goodwill. But the Lord said, give them to this person, give it to that person. And every single individual that I gave the furniture to needed it. And I
Wow.
share this story about my bedroom set because I met a nurse at one of the nursing homes that I was working at. And when I told her that the Lord was leading me to North Carolina, she told me, "Oh, my daughter just went to Charlotte." She hooked me and her daughter up. Me and her daughter start talking on the phone. And I said, and a very spiritual, very God-fearing woman, young lady. We were talking one day, and I said, this was the last bit of furniture that I needed to get rid of was my bedroom set. And it was huge. I was telling her, I said, I got one last thing to give away, to get rid of, or else I just got to leave it in the house. And I said, I'm selling my home. She said, Carla, I know someone who needs it. And I was like, she was like, yeah, my mother's been sleeping on a couch for years because she's she's taking care of other people. I said, have her get in contact with my brother and go get it. She can have it. And it was a brand new bedroom set. So that was the last piece of furniture that I needed to get rid of. So when I got to North Carolina, the other testimony, when you're in God's purpose, the houses in my neighborhood where I had purchased my house, they were going for like $85,000. And I told the realtor, she said, well, this is what your home is going for. So you might want to, in this area, so you might want to put it up just a little. I said, well, the Lord told me to put it up. It was over 100 that I told her that it was 115,000. I said, I want to put my home on the market for 115,000. And she was like, well, it's your home. You can put it on the market for whatever you want. Lo and behold, we got down to North Carolina. I was still in the interview process. I didn't have the job. So you talking about faith? 2 girls, 5-year-old and an 8-year-old. I had $5,000 in my purse. That was my savings at the time. That's all I had was $5,000. The Lord and my 2 girls in a car that was paid off. We got to North Carolina. I'm still in the interview process. Still don't have the job. Walking by faith. September 4th. I got a call. I interviewed with the director. I interviewed with the staff. I interviewed with the doctors. The director pulled me down in her office after I interview with the doctors, and she was like, Carla, these nurses got to get over it. They were looking for, they had rejected all other applicants. And my director, Priscilla Merriman, I will never forget her. She was a coach. She was a mentor. She said the staff has to get over, they're not going to find, or they're not going to get another JH. That was the name of the previous manager. They were looking for JH. JH was a nurse married to a doctor. That's the manager they were looking for. And so she said, but they just got to get over it. September 4th, I got a call at 4 p.m. by Karen, the recruiter, and offered me the job at the salaried. I was aspiring to get at back home, working as a nurse in Pennsylvania. I came in at where I was trying to get in 5 years. took me 5 years to get where they brought me in at. Then 8 o'clock that night, I got a call from the realtor, and there was a bed on the house, one bed, and that individual wanted to pay $5,000 less than what I was asking for. And I called my sister Jada, because her and her husband are a business acumen, and she said, Carla, don't go back and forth, because the woman that was buying the house, she was buying it for her mother. She lived in Florida. Her mother lived in Pennsylvania, and the house was in Penn Hills. She was buying it for her mother. My sister said, don't go back and forth. She's doing what God would want her to do. So I sold it for that amount.
Wow.
I'm telling you, Virginia, my life in obedience to the Spirit of the Lord. And again, we love our family. We love our mother. We love our fathers. But I remember my mother saying, you're taking my grandchildren away. And I said, I got to do what the Lord tells me to do. And when I got to North Carolina, my career took off.
Wow. A pathway to purpose and Wings of Wisdom is built on biblical principles. And in Proverbs 19:21, I know that's your foundational scripture. Many are the plans on of a man, but God's. You got a little background noise back there, but the Lord's purpose always prevails. So I'm grateful that you followed the purpose of the Lord. But can you share some key qualities or skills that are essential for those individuals aspiring to be nurses or in the medical field? What are those skills or qualities that will give them success?
First, you got to be grounded or have a relationship with God, or a sense. You got to know, you got to listen to the Spirit, the Holy Spirit. You got to you have to be called. Okay. Many are called, few are chosen. But those that are truly called, and I shared this with you at one of our conversations. If I didn't get paid doing what I do as a nurse, I'd still do it. Mm-hmm. If I can survive without being paid, or live a lifestyle that I desire and not be paid, I would do it. I'd go in there every day and take care of those patients.
Wow. Well, what challenges have you faced during your career span? Because you went from bedside care to the top of the tier, director of nursing, right, and basically back to bedside care. So what challenges have you faced and how did you overcome them?
Let me just share this. I would say that overall in my 36 years, I feel that I've been blessed in my career as an African-American nurse. But one of the challenges, my first experience with racism occurred when I was caring for a man at Allegheny General Hospital. And I had shared with him that, I always introduced myself, always wore my badge, and went in, took care of him. And then around lunchtime, his wife came in. And he said, honey, very happy that I would took care. He was very pleased with my nursing care, because I've always taken care of patients, no matter what race, culture, whatever, as if they were my loved ones. You got to look beyond what's in front of you and let God use you in what your purpose is. But his wife said, oh, she got up off the bed, came up to me, grabbed my name tag, and read it out loud. Carla Epperson, registered nurse. She read it twice. She couldn't believe that I was a registered nurse. And her response was, then she went on to say, oh, you must come from a good family. And then I was thinking, okay, that was my first experience with racism. And then, I shared my sisters and brothers' accomplishments. They were all, Carl graduated from college, Jada graduated from college, Shirley was in the top police officer in the city of Pittsburgh. So that was my first experience, but I didn't let it stop me. I do want to share with aspiring nurses or aspiring healthcare professionals, like maybe CNAs that want to be a nurse or LPNs that want to be an RN. I want to share and encourage them. Nursing school does not prepare you on how to deal with racism. So you're going to have to find a mentor or a coach or read some books, which one day I'm definitely going to aspire to do, in how to deal with that, because you don't want to be labeled. I refuse to allow anyone to label me as the angry Black nurse. I will not allow that. I will not do that to myself, my profession, or my race. I share this quote: don't respond, don't engage, and don't be provoked. It's okay to walk away. It is okay to walk away. Don't respond, don't engage, and don't allow anyone to provoke you. And that is colleagues, physicians, patients, ancillary personnel in the hospital. Don't respond, don't engage, and don't be provoked.
Yes, and I love your motto when you said, go where you are celebrated, not where you are tolerated. So that is the key too. And with mentorship, I had a mentor that mentored me, and she was been in the medical field for over 40 years, and she's a life coach. And her name is Miss Jacelyn Blankenship, and she helped lay the foundation for traveling nurses. So can you share the benefits and also the challenges of becoming a traveling nurse, because I know you've embraced that as well?
Yeah. One other challenge, when you say some of the challenges as it relates to my career, you encounter family challenges as well. So those challenges is where you need to get on your knees and pray. I had to get on my knees and pray. My daughter, briefly, during my transitioned from North Carolina, I moved on to California. Moved on to California. And I want to share this real quick, and then I want you to repeat that question, Virginia. But I think it's important for me to share this as well, because when you're in your purpose, there's peace, there's prosperity, there's finances, there's calmness, and there's joy. When you're out of your purpose, there's chaos, confusion, complaining, fear, which is crippling, bondage. And I want to share this. I think it's important for me to share this, because this was a change. This was a transition from my purpose to Carla's desire. And that caused all those negative items that I listed, particularly fear. But the whole time, that's when I went to California out of my purpose. He sent me to North Carolina, but I wanted to go pursuing my purpose, because you can make, as a nurse, as a traveling nurse, you can make lots of money as a nurse in California. And I was out of my purpose. But glory to God, I didn't miss a mortgage payment. My rent was more than my mortgage payment. I didn't miss a mortgage payment. He still was my provider. but there was a lot of fear living in California. So when you're out of your purpose, you miss out on what God has for you. And that is joy, love, peace, patience, finances, and all that. I had the finances, but it wasn't where I would have been in his purpose.
Yeah, his purpose is key, the pathway to purpose, and you're still passionate
Yes.
about bedside care. But I wanted just to repeat, because I know you mentioned the importance of mentorship and coaching for your professional development. And I had a coach, Miss Jacelyn Blankenship, and she laid the foundation for traveling nurses. So I think that intertwined you and me, because I was a flight attendant traveling around on this beautiful earth, and I love that. But I am in my purpose now on wings of wisdom. I feel like, if I never got paid for this, I love this to
Yes.
spotlight the experts, because there's so many individuals that need expertise. They need individuals who've already paved a way. They made a pathway. They have a blueprint, but they don't know what to do. And Wings of Wisdom can give them this avenue to lean in and win, because someone has already been down that pathway that they're trying to go to. So I'm just grateful for your journey. But if you can give the audience one last golden nugget, a piece of advice, a lesson you learned during your journey, what would you tell that aspiring nurse or somebody just want to be in the healthcare industry? What advice would you give them?
One, if what comes easy to you, identify what comes easy to you. I'm not saying nursing school is easy, but what I'm saying is, if you are called to the nursing profession, the things that go along with aspiring to that will come easy. What comes natural to you? What comes natural to me? Nurturing. I love caring for people. I love helping people. It doesn't bother me to help people go to the restroom, push people around in a wheelchair. Those are just some of the basic things. What we to become a nurse, if you are truly called to the profession, it's going to come. It's already in you, because that's what the word says. Before I knew you. So God has already purposed us to do what he called us to do. So those things that come natural to you, go after them. Those things that I listed come natural to me. Helping, nurturing, assisting, all of those things come natural to me. To go, if you're passionate, if you feel strong about something, if you feel strong convictions, stick with them. Go that way, because that is the Spirit telling you that's the path to go. If you see that you stand out, I never, to this day, I don't have a lot of friends, because I'm no nonsense. I have zero tolerance for foolishness. So maybe I shouldn't have said it that way, but I have a no nonsense and a leader, and I have thick skin. That's what I should have said. I have thick skin. So a leader, you have to be able to make decisions and not so much not worry about what other people say, but make decisions, assess your decision, and go forward. If you see that you have those leadership qualities, then that's part of your being. That's part of your purpose. And when I reflect back on my 36 years, God has always sent me in leadership positions, because most of my 36 years has been in leadership, in environments where I was the voice for the oppressed. It might have been an oppressed patient population. For example, in one facility, one organization, I noticed when you go, the particular patient population wasn't being treated like the other patient population. Another organization I went to, the nurses were afraid of the manager, was afraid of our boss. And God led me to speak up and speak out. And the way I did that was I would use the HR process, the human resources, the filing complaints, not, and that happened in California. And that's where some of the fear developed. I'm like, well, why do I have to speak up? Why don't people speak up for themselves, Lord? He said, because I'm sending you, because you will speak up. And the whole time I was there, I was fearful, but I never lost my job. I was fearful. I wrote a strong letter. I even wrote a letter to the county board of supervisors who oversees the whole county. So I went all the way up there speaking on behalf of the nurses, and he never left me. He never left me.
Wow. There's brilliance in the bloodline, ladies and gentlemen. There's brilliance in the bloodline. I am so excited to have my first cousin, Carla Epperson, on. And if you want to actually get in touch with her, her email is there, epperson2016@gmail.com. There's so much more to unravel because you taught at the HBCU colleges. And that was powerful. How did that impact the lives of your student and yourself?
Quickly, as a nurse instructor, I had a mentor, and God had angels over me. I went there with an MBA, my master's in business administration. But when I was invited to apply, I applied, got hired, and was told I can teach. But when I got there, I was told I needed a master's in nursing to teach or take the students to clinical. So Dr. Harris, the dean at the time, the chair at the time, encouraged me to go back and get my MSN. I did it in 18 months, a year and a half. And I was able to teach in the classroom as an associate professor and take students to the clinical site. Now, the HBCU experience, historically Black colleges and university, that was the most fulfilling nursing job that I had. Not only did I deposit into, and I'll share this, some of those nurses are doctorate of nursing. So many of them have their master's degrees. And when I see them on Facebook, some of them are traveler nurses. Some of them are traveling the world. Have a young lady, Kira Moore. She's right now, the last I seen her on Facebook, she's in Japan. But just to see the young women, men and women that I deposited in, be successful in the profession of nursing is just a true blessing.
Yes, that's powerful. Go ahead.
I went back to North Carolina to check on my home, and I was going into Lowe's, and a young man and a little child, it was a young little girl, and it was a young man, said, Ms. Epperson. And I was like, yes. And he was like, you remember me? And I said, I apologize. I don't remember you. He was like, you were my professor at North Carolina Central. And I was like, okay. I was like, I'm sorry. But I said, I'm sorry, I don't remember you. But he was like, you gave me, he's like, I'll never forget you, Ms. Epperson. He said, you gave me a book to practice my NCLEX. And he said, when you would stand in front of the classroom and teach, it was like you were preaching, Ms. Epperson.
Wow.
The young man told me that. He said, and he said, in that book you gave me, he said, I still have it. I lend it out to other aspiring nurses. He said, but I asked them for it back because you gave it to me, Ms. Epperson. And when I'll never forget that experience in Lowe's in Cary, North Carolina.
That's amazing. Yeah, I know that you is going to embrace the online space as well. So you have an LLC. So just speak a little bit about your scrubs and all of your accessories, and that's something.
Well, my two daughters are married and on with their lives. So I decided maybe I'll develop a hobby. And so I was driving at 885 in San Jose, California, going to Fremont, California, going home, and something and it's on my heart. It was like, well, why don't you sell scrubs, medical scrubs? And I was like, well, yeah, I've been in nursing scrubs for, at the time, it was maybe like 31 years. So, well, maybe I'll sell nursing scrubs. But when it started out as a hobby, it takes more than a hobby selling scrubs online, medical scrubs online. However, it takes more. It takes more than it being a hobby. So my passion again is the bedside nursing, and I have not given up that time to invest in the scrub business like I should, but I'm getting back on track. And it's called Zen Health Scrubs.
Yes, I have it scrolling here. Zen, Z-E-N, Z like zebra, E-N, healthscrubs.com. So, Carla, once again, I can say there's brilliance in the blood, and there's nothing like the blood of Jesus who died for us on Calvary's cross so that we may journey through our pathway on our purpose to everlasting life. And he says, it is your time to leave this beautiful earth. So I am so grateful that we were able to come together. And ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, now is the time to share on your electronic toys if this was value to you. And if you are aspiring to be in the medical field, or if you are in the medical field, there's certain skills, qualities that you need, but you first have to be connected with your master. And yes, he definitely will lead, guide, direct.
Yes.
Yes. Proverbs 3:5. Trust in the Lord with all of your heart. Lean not unto your own understanding, and in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path.
Absolutely.
I'm so grateful, and I want you to share the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. We're grateful that you were able to lean in and win. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Wednesday.